Drea Humphrey standing at Jack Pool Plaza in Vancouver at the Worldwide Freedom Rally. I would say at this point in time there's probably about 1,000 people here, but it's kind of divided. You've got one side is a Worldwide Freedom Rally, and then you've got another group of protesters. I believe Chris Sky is over there as well. Not sure what's going on, but we're here not about the drama. We're here to talk about why British Columbians are still protesting for freedom. And we're also going to ask them what they think about John Horgan's recent tantrum when he thought there was going to be a trucker convoy in Victoria and said this.
And I would just say to these people, goodness me, get a hobby. Find something else to do with your time. We are removing restrictions at a pace that is consistent with the work we've done for the past 2 years. And 94% of adults in British Columbia are vaccinated. So we are spending an awful lot of time with a small group of people who seem to have nothing better to do with their time but to drive around in circles honking their horns. I wish they'd take some time to watch television and see the evening news about real tragedies and real disruptions in freedom that are going on in Europe right now. Give your head a shake. Find a better way to take your energies and put it to positive outcomes. That's my recommendation, and I'm hopeful that some of the people who were planning to come here will take that to heart and do the right thing. Find positive pursuits for your excess energy.
All right, we're at the 7th Worldwide Freedom Rally taking place in many locations across the world. But when it comes to COVID-19, in case you're new to us, Rebel News has been covering the other side of the story since January 2020. If you'd like to support our independent journalism that you can count on to know what's really happening with current affairs, please consider donating to keep us going strong at rebelnews.com/donate. Let's get to the protest.
What's up? What, you're interviewing him?
So basically, when Chris Sky decided to walk up to, this side of Jack Pool Plaza to start confrontation publicly, I just wrapped my arm around him and I just said to him, if you want to have a conversation like an adult, we can do this in private because I don't need the show. That's not what we're about.
So, how are you guys? I'm here to solve a problem that's been bothering people in Vancouver for a year and a half. Since October 2020, Marco, Alicia, and Danielle of the Worldwide Rally have called themselves the Elite Protest Group. And they believe that they can divide the city and pick and choose who is allowed to speak at a freedom movement. They said I wasn't allowed here. So I made my own event on the other side. And within 24 hours, I had 20 other organizations signed on to our event because they had all been banned by the so-called elite group.
Okay,
I came here today for one
aside from the drama, this is news, not drama. What
drama.
Freedoms are you still standing here for today? That's the question I'm asking people.
So I get it. So you're about Division 2 because we're here for one reason.
No, I'm not reporting on drama. I'm asking you
this. You're lying.
I am asking you the same question I'm asking everybody
putting
today.
Words in my mouth that were never there.
I'm asking you a question.
It's not drama to bring people together. Drama is trying to divide people, and that's what I'm against. So do not say that I'm causing drama when I brought every single person together here.
Can I speak? Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? What
Does that
freedom?
sound like drama, or does that sound like unity?
What are you still fighting? This is the same question I'm asking everybody. What freedoms are you still fighting for today?
What freedoms have we got back? There's still federal travel mandates. There's still mandates at so many private businesses. There's still mandates in place for masks at schools and everywhere else. And those things aren't going away just because they release them a little bit. They're going to come back in fall, come back with a vengeance. And in the meantime, while everyone's distracted about Ukraine and everyone's loving the sun and being able to walk around without a mask for now, they're passing new legislation like Bill S-233, which is universal basic income and a Chinese-style social credit score. In the meantime, as that's going on, they're demonizing and criminalizing protests like this one. If you saw it, just yesterday in Calgary, they got an interlocutory injunction, they say it's temporary, to ban the protest march, the weekly Saturday protest march that takes up the city for about 2 or 3 hours. It makes no sense, but they got it and they're trying to make it permanent. So once they make it so you can't have protests, once they make it so you can't speak out online, and then they go and put back all the restrictions, and they have a universal basic income and a Chinese-style social credit score, what are you going to do? You're screwed. So what freedoms do we get back? Absolutely nothing. And that's why there's thousands and thousands of people here, because the smart people realize that this is just the calm before the storm. The enemy tried brute force, and it failed with the trucker convoy. So now they've went to subterfuge. They're trying to distract us with Ukraine, trying to distract us with a little bit of freedom, and then they're going to pass laws to make it harder to fight back the next time they put the restrictions back.
Recently, John Horgan had a bit of a tantrum. He heard that there was going to be a trucker convoy in the province and said, hey, give your guys' head a shake if you're still talking about freedom. What is your thoughts on that? Oh, because there's a war happening in Ukraine.
What the heck does the war in Ukraine have to do with here? They talk about Ukraine like they haven't been at war the last 8 years. They just bombed Yemen, Somalia virtually daily in residential areas, but because they don't talk about it or put it on the news, that's okay. But Ukraine's the only one we're supposed to care about. Why don't we care about Syria? Why don't we care about Libya? Why don't we care about Iraq? Why don't we care about Afghanistan? You know why? Because people like you, fake news, tell people what to care about.
Why are we fake news?
Well, because they did try to do a hit piece on me and call me a Holocaust denier on live air.
First of all, I'm an independent journalist, so I interviewed you. I didn't call you that thing, and nobody called you that either. They asked you about your tweets, but I'm interviewing you, and you're the only one taking shots here.
I'm not taking shots.
Thank you. Love you too. All right, Chris.
I'm taking a shot because
the interview's
you called
over.
Any drama. Now you're running away because
No. I'm not reporting on any drama. I asked you the same question I asked everybody else. That's what I do as a reporter.
I'm the one that brought everybody here.
Well, tried to avoid the drama, but the drama followed me. I'm just here to ask everybody the same question, but apparently Sky wanted something more specific. I almost wanted the 6 feet rule to be implemented there. Apparently he thinks we're fake news. Perhaps I should have asked him about his racist text messages. But anyways, the march is on the way, I guess, to get a better mood. The people from Worldwide Rally said they were going to start a march, and then they're going to come back for some more speeches. So we're going to continue to ask a couple of people the same questions we've been asking everybody, not giving anybody special treatment. All right, you graced everybody with your beautiful voice today. Tell us what freedoms people here, including yourself, are still taking a stand for.
Well, we still have the discrimination of the vaccine passport. You can't travel. I can't go to Italy to see my family. You know, I've got my whole mom's side there. I mean, it's ridiculous. And, you know, there are things that are happening, family celebrations, and you can't go to a venue because you need the vaccine passport. So that's called discrimination. It's called segregation. And there's no justification for it. All right? We've had record cases, record hospitalizations, record deaths since they implemented this vaccine passport and since the mandates. So what's the point? Like, if it worked, it's one thing. It's not working, period. So that's the reason why I'm taking a stand. And there needs to be an account for what they've done. They've made people like myself as a musician, 2 years that I haven't been able to gig. 2 years of my livelihood gone. Not only did I lose my restaurant, but the fact that I can't perform, and it's something that I love, and that's how I make a living, is disgusting. It's disgusting. So this is why I'm taking a stand. And they need to account for what they've done. I can understand, like I said in the beginning, there was a learning curve, but after 2 years and after this latest cases, we've had record cases here in BC, all over Canada, and they're still insisting on 4th boosters, 5th booster shots and all this stuff. It's ridiculous.
Freedom for those who aren't vaccinated to go back to their careers. Freedom of movement, so I can go visit friends in Ontario and Quebec without having to show a vaccine passport or be vaccinated if it's a choice or not. And freedom of expression for people so that they don't have to worry if they give money to a cause that they can have their money seized or frozen by a federal government.
we feel that we have no freedom in British Columbia and Canada at all. We came from Ukraine, actually, where they distract us and everybody with the war with Ukraine. They want to put a not good narrative what's really happening in the war to distract us from what's happening in Canada, really. That's what we're fighting for, that people know the truth, that people know what is right and what is wrong. They don't listen to media, like media accredited by our government, and they try to open their mind and see what's going on in the world and have a freedom, which we don't have for a long time in Canada.
You know, Raul, familiar face, one of the leaders, at least in the BC movement. Now, tell us why you're still here standing for freedoms when we're seeing some restrictions drop.
Well, I think it's just the calm before the storm, really. You know, all this legislation that they're trying to pass is really going to try and lock us down even further, trying to silence us with regard to free speech. There's things, measures, and they're also telling us that this is going to resume in the fall. Bonnie Henry's telling us, other leaders are telling us that these measures are going to go back. There's going to be new variants. So, you know, we can't get complacent. We still have to be out there. We still have to get the word out, wake up people, and still do what we've always been doing, because it's not going back to normal.
All right, so can I ask you guys what freedoms you're still standing for when we're seeing some of the mandates drop?
Well, I mean, it's dropped only for a short while. I think they're going to bring it back with more strict restrictions during summer or after summer. And there's more. There's the digital ID that's going to be implemented very soon. Next year, they're going to implement the digital currency, the CBDC. So a lot of things. They're bringing in a lot of other very similar type of things that are going to take away our human rights and properties.
All right, this is Alicia Johnson. You and Danielle were organizers today. You've done that repeatedly. Why do you think people are still showing up when we're seeing a drop in some mandates?
I think they're showing up because, you know, they're realizing that this is not just about masks and vaccine passports, that this is really a bait and switch for the digital ID. And, you know, these politicians have gone to school to make sure that they're very good pathological liars. And I'm proud of everybody who's shown up today to, you know, be able to show that they really can see that, you know, this is a long way to go. This is the truckers in Ottawa were a battle in the war. And I'm just proud to see so many faces seeing through the ongoing lies.
You know, it's interesting. One of the questions I've been asking people is about John Horgan's recent tantrum, where he basically said, if you're still complaining about freedoms in British Columbia, give your head a shake because of the war in Ukraine, and yet you are here from Ukraine still protesting. What message would you have for Horgan, who's saying that kind of thing?
I have to tell him that what he's telling, that it's not true. He's telling the lies to people. Whatever happened to Ukraine, it's not because of Russia, it's not because of Putin, it's because of Western world and US, which is basically subside this war. And people knew for a long time that war eventually would happen, because it's fight between Western world and Russia and Eastern world. And whatever is the government saying, it's not true. They took our liberty, and they want to take liberty of Russian and other people over there as well. That's what it's really war about. It's not about Ukraine, because the people here, government here, they don't care about Ukraine. They just try to push their narrative.
Well, I think he's nervous. I would be too if I was a premier that lied to my province for the last 2 years and truckers were coming to do what they did in Ottawa. And I support the truckers going out to Parliament. That's where they should be. And I support everybody who goes out to Victoria right now, because that's where the power should be, is in Parliament.
I respect our elected officials. I would say that there are still rules in place that restrict people's movements, their charter rights and freedoms, which the federal government is still saying you have to be vaccinated to go across. So until, you know, those freedoms and all that are restored, I don't think it's anything wrong for people to come out and, you know, voice their opinions in a very peaceful manner. I met a lot of great Canadians here today, a lot of great people, and their hobby is going out, meeting new people, talking, sharing love, being supportive of one another. So, you respect our elected leaders. I wish that they would take the time to actually sit down and listen, not just get a clip or two, but call up someone and just listen to how their rules, how their laws are affecting everyday Canadians' lives, so that they can gain a better appreciation for what it is that a lot of us are out here fighting for and demonstrating for.
It's just a big distraction, the Ukraine. They just switched the channel, right? And now it's not COVID, it's Ukraine. I think everything is organized, everything is planned. These things don't happen spontaneously. The media is organized, right? So now they want us to hate Russia and blame Russia, so we can blame them for the high gas prices. And we can, they always have to demonize a country or somebody, and then what they'll do is switch it back to the channel they want for their, propaganda agenda, right? So it's just temporary.
Well, I think it's pretty rich of people like him and others in power when they've taken away our freedoms, they've taken away our rights. Think about it. Trudeau invoked the Emergencies Act on people that were protesting peacefully. Think about that. And then they're saying that others have their freedoms infringed upon, which they are, and they need to fight for their freedoms. But what about here? What about here in Canada? It's ridiculous. And why is freedom now a taboo word with them?
It's a racist word now.
Yeah, it's a racist word. It's a taboo word with the mainstream media. It's ridiculous. Okay? My parents came here without a dollar bill, with 2 suitcases, and busted their behinds to give us a better life and to give us a life where we can have freedom of speech and think for ourselves, do what we need to do what we want, and earn a living. And this government has taken that away from us this last 2 years. Think about that. With no justification for it. That's the point. So this is why I'm here, and this is why I'm still fighting, because this can never happen again.
Well, it's rather insensitive for our premier to make those kind of comments about the general public. The people you can see around here represent diverse cultural groups, different professions, and it's unfortunate that he took that position, because I think a lot of us had a lot of hope and confidence in him.
And the timing of the war, when the wave of freedom was spreading globally over New Zealand, UK, everywhere in USA, it's so convenient at the right timing. They have the distraction. So a lot of people say it's part of the whole plan, just to distract us and relax a little bit of take the people's mind at ease a little bit, so they get used to the cycle of lockdowns, a little bit of a break for you guys. And again, bring back the lockdowns further. Yeah, longer and longer. The lockdown's gonna get longer.
I have friends still in Kharkiv. They are poor. They don't have a car, so they are trapped actually. And every day I'm afraid to open my phone and ask them, are they alive or not? I don't know. Every day, it's awful. It's a burden on everybody, even on us.
And suddenly all the media, accredited media, and the government and people forgot what's really happening here, how our truckers were treated here in Canada, and talking only about Ukraine. Like nothing happened really in the world.
All at once.
Ukraine. All at once, like this. Like COVID started in one day, the same with Ukraine. They switched it to the war to distract people from real truth. That's why we're here and fighting for real truth and freedom.
Father, people, you like to talk about your university education. You think that you're very well educated. In science, right? That's your major.
So for really stupid people, it should be really easy to answer us.
You really only like to talk down to people and talk about how well educated you are. Why don't you want to talk to other people that can actually respond to you?
No, I really enjoy debate. You guys don't though. It's too bad. You just like to hold signs in public and not defend really your stance at all.
But they've got a sign still, one of them at least, about white supremacy. Why do you think that narrative is still alive? All you have to do is look around to see that's not the case.
Yeah, no, I was actually talking to them about 20 minutes ago. I had a great conversation with one of the guys for about half an hour. And I said, every time you use, white supremacy to talk about a generalization of a group of people that are, Asian, Latino, Black, so many different ethnicities, you actually water down and cheapen actual white supremacists.
Crying wolf, right?
It's like as someone who's a Black Canadian, I've been discriminated against, very, very few times, but it has happened, actual people that, look at my skin color and have opinions, right? When you have people that are going out and says that, you're a part of a white supremacist movement, it actually cheapens those people who actually have those views. So it's the same thing when you have people on our side that, use very colorful languages to describe our elected officials. I said, every time you use it, it cheapens actual, white supremacists or neo-Nazis or out there. So, I'm all for people going out, voicing their opinions in a peaceful manner. The group that they're there right now, they've been very respectful so far, and pray it continues that way. And we can agree to disagree on things, but if we do it in a peaceful manner where we listen to one another, we'll get along further.
Amen. We got a nice row of the VPD here keeping the peace without wearing a mask, I might add. And here on Rebel News, you heard firsthand why some British Columbians are taking a stand for freedoms, even after some mandates are dropping, and regardless of what John Horgan thinks of that. Drea Humphrey for Rebel News. If you're like many of the protesters here today who believe that the battle is not over, consider joining our legal fight to fight vaccine passports and no jab, no pay policies. We've partnered with the Democracy Fund to help them take on over 20 vaccine-related cases across Canada, and we can't do any of that without your donation. So please make a charitable donation at fightvaccinepassports.com. Canada and us appreciate your support.